Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another most carried video for you. This is for February of 2021. We are almost into March of 20, almost into the third month of 2021. This is the 27th, not quite the end of the month yet. I usually do it on the last day of the month, but tomorrow's Brews and Blades. So it's the live show we do every Sunday. If you haven't been to one, you should come check it out. But obviously, wasn't going to do it there, so going to do it here. And I have a knife that I know you guys really want to check out. It's in the title. It's probably why a lot of people are here. Due to the algorithm and all that stuff, you're probably searching for something about this knife, brand new Protech. I've had it for a little over 2 weeks, and it definitely made the carry list, and it was cool because just yesterday they said I'm allowed to talk about it. So if you can finally get this off my chest that I've had one, and we'll talk about it. So I'm going to do one thing a little bit different, and going to stick with it from here on out in the monthly updates. At the end of this, after the knives, I am going to show my most worn watch for this month. A lot of you guys do like watches. Knives and watches kind of go together. I'm kind of a watch guy, not insanely so, but kind of, and I like to scratch my itch, talk about watches a little bit. So I'm going to put them at the end of these monthly updates just to kind of scratch the itch. And I'm working on doing a weekly separate live stream just for watches, but we'll talk more about that one closer to actually that's going to happen. So let's get going. As usual, we have my top 5 in no particular order other than the one that I carried the most. And other than that, yeah, it's just, and these are all ones that I carried for myself. These aren't ones that I carried just for review. Obviously, a lot of review ones from the previous month slip in, but let's get going and start off with the one that I think a lot of you are here to see. It is the new Protech Rockeye. This is the upgraded S35 VN Les George design in full size. We're going to move these other ones aside here because we're going to compare this one, do a little bit more with this one than we normally do for an EDC update. But so this is a full 3.5-inch blade. If you guys are familiar with the SBR, the short bladed Rockeye, it was my first Protech. Yeah, it's bigger than that. They have changed S35 VN, no longer CPM 154, which is great. Some other little changes, but just kind of a bigger SBR, which no issues there. Yeah, great. I love the SBR. It's cool. You can get a bigger one. I'm really, 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 really liking this knife. I know that a couple other reviewers got them early as well. I know Metal Complex got one. He posted on Instagram, so I can spoil that for you. He got one as well, same configuration as this. I do believe they're going to come in a blue and a black. Right now, as of yesterday on Instagram, they listed it as $300, but that's Protech's price. They say right in the release, our dealers will have it for less. If I had to guess, $250 to $270, somewhere in that range is kind of what I guess the price to be, which I think is perfectly fine. But the ergos are really good. It kicks like the proverbial mule. I don't know what it is with the Les George Protechs, but they always seem to kick a little bit harder than the others. The SBR is always like one of the hardest kicking out the side autos I've ever had. But it's been a joy to carry. The blade is excellent. Just simple drop point. I like the swedging on it. It looks cool. I like the way they did the finish and the stone wash on the blade, and then the machine ground flats. It looks really cool. Again, S35 yen. I like the Les George logo on here. Looks kind of metal. Looks like a Motorhead album or something. I think that's pretty cool. I've always liked that. If I have one little nitpick with it, it doesn't have a deep carry clip, which that doesn't really bother me on a knife like this. There's a lanyard hole up there. Move the clip down. Maybe that's why. You know, guys know I'm not a big lanyard fan, but I understand a lot of people who get these will. But I don't mind it sticking out a little bit on this because this is not a discreet knife anyway. So I don't mind it not having deep carry. And yeah, you do have a little bit to grab and pull out, but this little OCD thing, you can see I don't think it's going to work if I try and pull it in closer. No, it's not. And it'll screw up the whole rest of the video if I zoom it. Yeah, it overlaps one of the body screws. Just a hair. Just enough to really bother me. But other than that, it's fine. This is the same hole pattern as a Benchmade clip, so there are a plethora of aftermarket options. And as well, they said that Lynch Northwest is making a pocket clip specifically for this, so I think that's pretty cool. So eager to see what that's going to look like. I don't know if it's even, maybe it's out. I kind of doubt it because the knife isn't yet. I haven't looked around to see, but whenever you can get one, I'll definitely be getting one of those just to try it out. Again, I don't hate that it's deep carry, pocket clip's a little bit long, but that's kind of a thing with Protechs. You kind of learn to expect that. I think the SBR and the Malibu are the only two that have shorter clips. Everything else has these really long clips, even like the Newport. So again, it's just that this aesthetically, that bothers me a little bit. It looks a bit kludgy, but other than that, very little to complain about with this knife. I will do a full review closer to the release date, which is going to be late March, by the way. So if you want one of these late March, keep an eye out at your favorite Protech dealer. They'll be coming out in the black and the blue. And I'm really excited to get one. I got the black because it matches my SBR. They actually remembered that I had this SBR, and Matt actually emailed me and said, I'm going to send you the black and the Stonewash because it matches your SBR. And they even remembered what my SBR looked like, which is cool. But all right, awesome knife. Again, $250 to $270, and full review coming out a couple weeks, maybe, something like that. They didn't tell me exactly when I'm allowed to do the full review. They just said just wait till closer to the release date. So probably a couple weeks. We're going to put all the knives back out again, just because I know you guys like to have stuff to look at as I yammer. So next up, another auto. It's been really cold in February in New York, in the teens most days, and usually wearing gloves. I like autos when I'm wearing gloves. They're easier to get open. You just got to push a button, or in the case of this Guardian Tactical Recon O35, you just have to move the slider. I just love the action on the Guardian Tactical. It's sits on stainless steel here with a little ceramic ball, so it just goes. Maybe it's not ceramic, I don't remember now, but it's very smooth anyway. Just action on these is fantastic. I started carrying this a lot because I've had it for quite some time. I think maybe it made one of my most carried before, but I did finally get off my butt and remember, God, I haven't done a full review on this. So I did a full review in late January, and I just started carrying it more. I just remembered how much I loved it, and it's just an awesome OTF. It's definitely my favorite OTF to carry. I really like my Microtech, Combat Trude on Hellhound, but it's a big old thing. I like my Microtech UTX 85s. It's cool. I'm finally getting an Ultratech in to check out later this week. But right now, this is it's so smooth. Every little blade play. Elmax steel. This one is about $330. With the carbon inlay, if I remember correctly. It's somewhere around there. I think they're a little less for the just plain aluminum handles. I may be off just by a smidge, but they're not horridly expensive. They're not cheap, but they're not horrible. Yeah, ergos are good. It's just an excellent OTF to carry. If you live in a place where you can carry an OTF, especially this blade shape, just a good usable blade shape. OTFs are usable, especially when they're like this. So love the Recon O35, and I'm getting the big old O40. I'm really excited about that. It's big and it's dumb, and maybe I'll keep it around. Probably not, but I'm also dumb, so maybe I will. I'm getting one of those. Also, it ships Monday. Really excited to get my hands on that. Next up, again, these no particular order except number one. We'll go with this one, the Spyderco Sage 1 Maximet, $206.50. Maximet, made in Taichung, Taiwan. If you don't know about the Sage series, Sage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all different locks. Sage 1 was the liner lock. Maximet steel, love Maximet steel. Love the gray aesthetic that they put on all the Maximet knives. I think it looks amazing. I'm slowly swapping all of my size comparison Spydercos that are available in Maximet to Maximet just so they match, and the gray works really well. So I'm finally getting a Paramilitary 2 Maximet. I've got the Para 3 Maximet. I've got a Manix 2 Lightweight Maximet. Make it a Native 5 one. I don't know. It's not really a huge party. But anyway, I love this one. It's just fantastic. I've only had it for 2.5 weeks or so, but in the title of the review, I said the ultimate EDC ? Yeah, for me, evidence indicates it's probably up there because it's in my pocket a lot. I haven't had it that long, and it still made the list. I love the ergos of the Sage 5. It's just fantastic. I love me some Maximet. They do a different finish on this one than the other Maximets. Let me see if I can grab one here. Actually, this is, which one is this? The Para 3 Maximet. You can see from, which has got fingerprints on it. You can see from golden, you get this kind of stonewashy finish. You get the machine satin from Taichung. Somebody made a comment about them cheaping out doing this. No, it's not. It's just an aesthetic choice. All of the Taichung Spydercos have the same kind of blade finish. At least a lot of them do. Again, let me grab another one. This is going to be a really long video for a pocket update, but you can see this is a Chaparral and XHP. And yeah, see, that's just the finish they use in Taichung. It's an aesthetic choice. It's not like a cheap out thing. I don't think that's dramatically cheaper to do than the Stonewash, but anywho, yeah, I just love this thing. But if it was a Sage 5 Maximet with the compression lock, oh, right now I love this. This Sage 5 Maximet, I'd be screaming like a teenager at a BTS concert. Yeah, that's a K-pop reference. Trust me, it's a band. It's very popular over the world. Little girls scream their tiny little heads off over it. That's how I would react if this was a Sage 5 Maximet and I had my compression lock. But it is just a nice user kind of, knife. I kind of get why they went with Maximet on this one, because Maximet is a serious, serious steal, and probably people who buy these are going to be using them. This is very low maintenance. Not that I think a compression lock is any higher maintenance, but you know what I mean. It's just a simple knife, and love it to tiny little pieces. But please do the Sage 5 and Maximet. This one will be for sale immediately after the day. Other than that, I'm going to keep it forever. Next up would be the Benchmade Super Freak. This is $263.50. Got to get that out of the way. I always try to explain. First of all, this is the 565-1 version of the Super Freak. So it's the carbon fiber S90V. Every time I show this knife, I bring up that I don't think it's overpriced. I think it's over-spec'd. We just didn't need this. So when we heard they were going to make a fancier version of the Mini Freak, we all just assumed it would be a smaller, spec like the Super Freak with the coated M4 blade and the G10 multi-layer, really cool looking handles. That would have been awesome. Around a little less than $200, something like that. We'd all been very, very happy. But they went full boat on it with the S90V and the carbon. It's very, very nice. I just don't think any of us were clamoring for one this fancy. At least I wasn't. But now that I have it, I have to say it's dethroned a lot of knives. I used to have a 20 CV Benchmade Saibu, and I loved it. And I sold it, and then I heard they were discontinuing it. I clamored to get another one. I was really excited to have another one. But then I got this, and I'm like, I don't need the Saibu anymore. And my Hogue Mini Ritter RSK Mark 1-G2, I don't really feel a need to keep that anymore. Don't ask if I'm selling it down below. Got to be a Patreon member. If I'm going to sell it, it'll be up there first. But there's been a few knives I've sold because of this. I just like it in my hand. It's just very comfortable. It is a well broken in axis lock, so it's very fidgety and fun. I like the colors. I like the little pop of red. I do wish there was a pop of blue, though, because not only because I like blue a bit more than red, but the other S90V carbon Benchmades all have blue accents instead of red. But I guess the Super Freak has red accents, so I guess they chose to keep it to look more like the Super Freak than the other S90V carbons, but still very nice. I did do one kind of different thing to this. So the pocket clip it came with was the kind of split arrow clip. It's all right. I don't like the look of them. I did try to put a deep carry clip on it. It just doesn't work on this knife in my hand. It sticks up a little bit and it just digs into the palm of my hand. It's uncomfortable. Some knives in this size range don't work well with deep carry clips, period. And not everything has to be deep carry. I put a Etsy carbon fiber pocket clip on it. It was all right, but I was always nervous about it breaking, even though it never showed any signs of it. And the carbon just didn't quite match. It's really hard to get carbon to match. So I remembered, hey, wait a minute. I have an extra pocket clip laying around for another knife. If this was live, we'd play Guess That Pocket Clip. But this is a TRM Neutron pocket clip. I got an anodized pocket clip for a Neutron that I wound up auctioning off for charity, I believe is how I got rid of that one. I had a spare clip laying around, and I thought, let me try the Neutron clip on it. You know what? It works awesome. A little shorter than the stock clip, which is great, because this is not a big knife. So ergonomically, it works even just a little bit better. And it's really comfortable. It has good tension on it. No worry about it flying out of my pocket or anything. Actually, as a matter of fact, I had to back the tension off a little bit. It was kind of tight at first. But great pocket clip for this. Really, really like it. Maybe Benchmade should just make a shorter a little mini non deep carry clip for people who don't like deep carry but don't need the bigger clips, and it doesn't look quite so phallic like the split arrow does. I said it, promised I wasn't going to allude to it, but there I go again. I cannot be trusted. But yeah, and this is first production, if that matters to you. I don't really care. But yeah, it's expensive. It's probably arguably overpriced, but man, I can't get rid of it. I keep getting rid of other stuff instead. I just really, really like it. So that comes to the final, obviously, the last knife on the table I've not talked about, the Hinderer Firetech. Slight little caveat here. It is my most carried of the month by quite a bit, but it was split between two different Firetechs. I had a Stonewash one previously with a G10 scale. I had the opportunity to get a Battle Black. I've never had anything Battle Black Hinderer, so I wanted to check out that finish. You can see front and back. Battle Black Firetech. It's fun to say. This is a Hinderer actual natural micarta scale. I've been trying to darken it up a little bit. I keep putting mineral oil on it. It gets really dark, and then it comes back a shade, and then put more on it, gets darker again. I think this is after like the third application of mineral oil I've gotten it this dark. We're going to keep going until I darken up just a bit more, but it ain't bad the way it is. I have put these bronze, I put the bronze pocket clip and the bronze filler tab on it. I like it, but I don't think I like it any more than I did with just the Battle Black pocket clip and the Battle Black filler tab. But a viewer was nice enough to send me this Battle Bronze thumb disc, so I wanted it to match you up a little bit more. But the action on it is just silly. Silly, I tell you. It's how you can tell it's been in my pocket a fair bit. It doesn't take a long time for Hinderers to break in, but that is a broken-in Hinderer there, my friends. Tri-way pivot, obviously running on the bearings. You can tell just by that. But I really like the recurve blade, too. You know, it's the more I use it, the more I find, like, you know, long cardboard cuts and stuff, you do kind of notice. There's not much recurve there, but it's enough that does kind of hold it in a little bit more. It's a pretty good cardboard destroyer for being not horribly thin behind the edge. But yeah, really, really, really liking this thing. A ton, obviously, my most carried. So, and again, the recurve, it's mild enough. It's not going to be a thing sharpening it. Don't worry. As long as you have thin stones, it's going to be super easy. And, you know, 20 CV steel isn't exactly the worst thing in the world to sharpen. It takes a hot minute. Probably should have diamonds, but unless you're patient. But other than that, you know, I think it's going to be just fine to sharpen. So those are my top 5 most carried knives of February 2021. This is a pretty long one because I wanted to talk more about that Rockeye. And then we wound up getting into the weeds a bit more on the Sage one than I intended. But so if you're not into watches, you can leave now. But I'm going to mention before you go, this watch is because of a knife channel, and I think you guys should go check him out. Dirk Wernig, great dude. We've become pretty good friends, and he loaned me a watch because I'd wanted. I'm just going to say it's a Seiko Arnie. I'll show you which one I got here in just a moment, but I've always wanted a Seiko Arnie. They're really cool, but they look really huge. I have pretty skinny wrists. 6 3/4, maybe even a bit less than that, maybe 6.65 if it's cold outside. And I just didn't think one would fit because they just look so huge. I just thought it would look dumb on me. He assured me that it wouldn't, and then I went and looked at a Nick Shabazz video. My wrists are pretty similar size to Nick Shabazz's, maybe like this much larger than his, and like probably literally about that much. And it didn't look bad on his wrist at all. So I'm like, yeah, go ahead and loan me one. So he sent me a black and gold one, and it was really cool. I really liked it. I wore it a ton. Within like a day and a half, I was like, I got to have one of these. So I got one. This is my Seiko Arnie. This is the Patty version. I never had a Pepsi dial watch like this. They go for between $300 and $400. If you want to buy one very slightly used in excellent condition, you can probably even find for like $250 on eBay. I was impatient, so impatient. I actually bought this on Amazon, which I try not to buy a lot of watches that way, but I did, and because I wanted it was prime, so it was $353, I think. But love this thing. It is running on. We'll talk about more when I take it off. This is a Blue Shark NATO strap. The stock rubber strap is excellent, though. Seiko doesn't do the best job at all with their metal bracelets, but the rubber straps are actually pretty cool. And I bought it with the intent just to leave it on that. But on that strap, do I have it here? I have a couple of recently removed straps sitting here in a box next to me. I do have it right here. Let me show you. The reason why I did switch it eventually was this metal bit. It's got this metal keeper on it, and it sticks out a lot. And I sleep with a watch on, and I was kind of worried about like scratching my wife or something with it, or scratching into things. And I was like, scratching my truck or something. So I wanted to get rid of that big giant metal keeper. That's the only reason why I changed it. It's very, very comfortable. Other than that, great rubber strap. But yeah, so the Seiko Arnie, if you don't know why it's called the Arnie, it's after Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he wore it in 5 different movies. And according to legend, that I've only heard from one place, maybe it's completely made up, even to the point that I don't remember what movie it was, one of them they said, oh, here's your watch that you're going to wear in the movie from another company. And he said, no, I wear this one. He was famous enough, they were like, oh, okay, all right, Arnie, you can wear it. He's had it in the action movies, in the comedy movies. It's in 5 different movies, so that's why they call it that. This is a reissue. It's slightly different than the ones he wore in those movies in the 90s, but late 80s to 90s, I think, is when they all came out. But I love it. It's basically a lot of places call it the digital solar tuna. And it's kind of what it is. It's a tuna with a digital window that does, stopwatch, and I have mine set to the day, or to the day and date. You can change it to show the time, all kinds of stuff like that. Screw down pushers, screw down crown. They call it the tuna because it's got this kind of tuna can looking, protector ring around it. This is composite. You can actually get it in a metal, and they're not bad. I think like $50-$60, and it's just 3 T6 screws to remove it. Watch nerd thing, kind of funny. I was watching a video about how to install it, and they said the only hard part is you have to have this weird tool called it's a T6 Torx bit. You have to have one of those. You probably don't have one around. Pshaw, a ton of T6s around. So you remove these 3 T6 screws, and it just falls right off, and then you just put a new one on. And it doesn't look horrible without it, actually. Just the pushers stick out a lot, but anyway, yeah, so this is my most worn watch. This Blue Shark strap, I will say, I thought it was a single layer NATO because I wasn't paying attention, and it wasn't. It was a double layer NATO, which made it stick up even higher from my wrist because this is a very thick watch. It looks good on the wrist, but it does stick up a lot. So I made it. I made it a 1-layer NATO, which you can just do on NATO. So just hack that bit off, and then it becomes a single layer. So love this thing. And that is it. That is the end of this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Hope you guys enjoyed a little modicum of watch content. So look forward to this again next month, and hopefully I will see you on the morrow on Brews and Blades. I've been Brian. Have a good one.